let us all do we can to build a better future. Okay, well, first, you hear how corporate media and Democrats are blaming Arab and Muslim voters for not being inspired or wanting to vote for Biden. But now there's talk of black voters potentially voting for Cornel West or Donald Trump. You see, black voters are walking away from the Democratic Party. Now, these videos are from Case Study QB, and obviously this took place before the South Carolina primary. I know, spoiler alert, in case anybody does care, Biden won the South Carolina primary. Well, let's have democracy in the chat. Type 1. Kit, that's important news. You should talk about how Biden won the South Carolina primary. Type 2, no, I don't care. I'm actually very grateful that you're not talking about the South Carolina primary, because guess what? It was one big nothing burger. Dean Phillips, Marianne Williamson, Janke. Come on. You're wasting my time. You're wasting everybody's time. Don't you not see? Can you not see? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? So we got these videos from Case Study QB. Please be sure to follow him. He's wrongly being censored on social media. So let's go ahead and play this video here. Black voters in South Carolina discuss presidential race and potentially voting for Dr. Cornel West or Trump. Let's talk about it. What is going on?
Is there a possibility that any of you could either vote for Donald Trump or some third-party candidate? Is that a possibility?
Not right now.
Not for me.
Not right now.
I can't personally see me ever voting for Donald Trump, especially what happened with on the Capitol.
I don't see a world personally where I would vote for Donald Trump.
Right.
Ever. So a third party candidate, yeah.
Cornel West has a name in the black community. I mean, many of us grew up reading Dr. Cornel West.
I'm a fan of him personally. Politically, I'm not there with him yet.
There is some appeal there for some black men with Trump. What is it?
Money.
Yeah.
I mean, Donald Trump has a reputation of being the money man. So
beyond the projection of a businessman, what is that is appealing for so many black people, black men especially?
Well, again, there is a growing feeling amongst all voters about the Democratic Party and about the Republican Party. And I think many Americans are slowly waking up to the fact that we're being scammed. Now, of course, we have been trained, and corporate media and our systems and our institutions have done a phenomenal job in keeping us obedient and subservient to a two-party system that doesn't like us, that doesn't think about us, that doesn't respect us. But because we've been raised in this, we've been always told that you got to vote Team Red or Team Blue. And now you have people dabbling in the idea of, well, maybe I don't have to vote Democrat or Republican, or maybe I can break away and vote Republican, or maybe I don't vote at all. These are things that a lot of Americans, that a lot of your neighbors and friends and family members are struggling with. Perhaps they aren't fully aware that they have more power than they realize.
I just think that Donald Trump, in spite of all the craziness he may have in his head, reading some of the things that he talks about with business, I can kind of agree with as far as business wise, because I'm trying to grow my business. As far as Biden, I haven't seen Biden really care about business like that. And my concern is having my business so that I can build generational wealth, so my kids can see and have something to take upon when I'm not here.
A lot of people admire the persona, and they want to be him. They want to enjoy the perks that he has. He seems to always be able to circumvent the rules.
I think there's a lot of, generationally speaking, I think there's probably some familiarity with what he used to be.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know why people are riding for Trump like that.
There's a reason why. It's because, and unfortunately, Bernie Sanders turned out to be a nutless, spineless wonder. But in 2016, I think a lot of us wanted something different, and we still do. And Trump, and to extent, and Bernie in 2016, were those shocking new alternatives that got people re-engaged in the political system. And Donald Trump took on dynastic families in the Republican primary. He embarrassed the high echelon at the time of the Republican contenders. He decimated them all, and he got the people on his side. Whether you agree with his tactics or not, he defeated the entire guard of the GOP in 2016. He ran his campaign in 2020, and guess what? He's going to win the Republican primary, okay? All these legal issues, anybody else would have dropped out of shame. Trump didn't, and people want to live vicariously through Trump. They see him and they're like, I wish I could be that guy. It's humans are inspired by those that will shake the foundations of the world, and vote blue no matter who, just to trigger you some more so, just like how Cleopatra, Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, Genghis Khan, and so many other great historical figures live forever in international and world politics. Well, Trump's name will live forever too, whether you like it or not.
You're hearing that too, that there are some people in your orbit who are either voting for Donald Trump or considering it?
For sure. A lot of my friends are obviously my age, so we're a little younger. We've only voted once, for a president. And Trump is kind of all we know. And they're kind of Trump and Biden. They're like, well, we were broke with Biden. We weren't with Trump. And that's kind of the only thing that I'm hearing over and over again is that, well, Trump, we had money. Well, okay, I hear you guys. But personally, I couldn't see myself.
I'm just going to add this in here too. Now, Daniel can back me up on this one too, because this is something we've dealt with a lot. But of course, there was the YouTube censorship, and Hardlands Media got started in 2017 with Trump being the president. And while we did have to tiptoe around a lot of the guidelines and censorship at the time, since Biden took office, never before, all throughout the Biden-Harris administration, 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times we've been hit. And a lot of our colleagues in independent media have either that effectively been kicked off of a lot of social media platforms, and it's gotten worse. So keep your heads on a swivel out there, folks. I mean, that's how crazy things were. Yes, things were challenging under Trump. But under Biden, geez Louise, what is going on?
Chris, in the conversations I've been having, these voters fall in 3 camps. Those who will vote for Biden kind of with a lack of excitement, those who are considering voting for Donald Trump, and those who are considering sitting out altogether. And it's that last group that might be troubling for a lot of folks to pay attention to this stuff.
Yeah. Tremaine Lee, thank you so much.
Now, I also want to pull up this video here where we have Chuck Rocha discussing the importance of the black vote and if they are leaving Biden in 2024. I know everyone's afraid of people leaving the Democrats.
And it was something that Rev said that I wanted to come back to, and it really had to do more with the other candidates. Not that they were serious contenders, as we were seeing from these early results, but the other 2 names, Congressman Dean Phillips, Marianne Williamson, 2-part question for you. They weren't able to tap into if there was any resentment against the Biden campaign or the Biden presidency. And 2, where do they go from here? Is this something that they should consider dropping out as a result of tonight?
Eamon, that's a good question. And I remind everybody that 4 years ago tonight, I was in South Carolina. And I can promise you, as the guy who helped run Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign.
It's because of you. Yeah. Now, look, we all know that Bernie Sanders didn't have that dog in him, never had that dog in him, even though my neighbor's dog next door is still barking. I'm not being specious. Bernie didn't have that dog in him, but okay, hey, you're talking about losing South Carolina. It's because Obama made a phone call. That's how Joe 30330 won the primary.
Hey, folks in South Carolina love them some Joe Biden. And it's proven again.
Oh, they love them some Joe Biden. Also because the Democratic primary this year was also a waste, okay?
And tonight. And so what you have to look at here, and folks knew Joe Biden was going to win. First in the nation. We give him props. Amazing job by Jamie Harrison, who's also from South Carolina. But what you're looking at tonight in a presidential campaign.
I'll get those kids away from him. Why?
Is trying to get rid of some of this narrative about you're losing some of the black vote. Black men are moving away from you. There could be a little movement here and there, but tonight and today, Eamon, they got to kick the tires on the truck. So they went out into the community and they could test their GOTV operations, which they will have to have, and the Rev knows this. To actually win the presidency, you need to win the black vote in Philadelphia, Milwaukee, and in Detroit. And that's what tonight was about.
Really quick, Rev, is that the same motivating factor among black voters in Philadelphia and in the North versus South Carolina black voters?
You know, come election night, it is really going to be interesting to see how people are going to react in regards to voter turnout. Now, all this is being used. What you're seeing here before corporate media is I call this a reassurance video. Hey, you're doing just fine. Hey, you're just A-okay. Don't think about black voters leaving the Democratic Party, because that's not true. We'll see what happens on election night. Because if the way the economy and everything else is still going along, I don't want to add more to this, but people will kind of put on their rose-colored glasses and look back at the Trump years and say, hey, we were actually doing pretty well under Trump. And the thing is, it's going to start resonating with people. And that's how you're going to start losing voters, because we got money going for total war, bailing out banks, but no money for the people. By the way, we're still owed our $2,000 stimulus check, by the way. And don't give me that BS of 1,600 plus 400. No. I'm using Chicago logic. I will take that money, but you promised me $2,000 plus interest. Don't make me pull out my inner Tony Soprano, okay? And don't even think about saying, hey, don't be that way, okay? Because I'm going to use that Roman quote. Where are the Romans? Hey, Jagoff, you're looking at them.
Is there?
No, you're going to have to earn the vote everywhere.
Right.
But I think the indication here is that if these numbers hold up anywhere near where they look now, is that black voters decided, even though they knew the conclusion, they came out and voted for Joe Biden. Now the question is, do you fine-tune your messaging to make sure you get a bigger turnout in the general election and in the other primaries? But the fact that you're seeing people did come out to vote for Biden and did not vote for any of the candidates that were challenging Biden, this whole right-wing media that there's dissatisfaction among Democrats, that's not being demonstrated in South Carolina tonight.
How many people turned out to vote, okay? Because a lot of people say Chicago is a Democrat city. Voter turnout has been getting lower and lower, okay? People who vote in the Democratic primaries or either that just participate. And guess what? We all participated in the Democratic primaries and all that other stuff, but it's one big waste of time. One big waste of time. What's the voter turnout?
Because you would have expected a movement of disaffected Democrats to come out and vote against him, and it doesn't appear that that's going to be the case.
Yes. And then finally this. Shout out to anyone who's following the case study QB, because again, he's wrongly being censored.
I was in Georgia talking to voters last month. And when I was talking to black voters, the thing I kept hearing was, I'm struggling here. How can we afford to send bombs that are killing children? Now, it's a complicated geopolitical situation, but that is what I'm hearing from voters. So there's a disconnect as well about where America's energy is being placed and making sure that we support human rights for all. This is not an anti-Israeli position. I wasn't hearing anti-Semitism. I was hearing, how can we get involved in another war in the Middle East in which we're supporting
another one too,
bombing
Yemen,
children, So it's people are very angry. I was in Georgia.
Yeah, people are very angry. People are disappointed in the Democratic Party. People are disappointed in the establishment. People are disappointed in our institutions and corporate media. Does it come as a surprise that people are angry? Democrats, you're not only losing Arab and Muslim voters, you're losing black voters, you're losing everybody. Now, what we're seeing here from corporate media is doing reassurance videos like, no, it's not that bad. Well, already the first months of the new year has passed. We're in February now. A lot can happen between now and November. Democrats, what are you going to offer people? What are you going to give to people, period? Do you have anything really of substantial value to give to the Democrats? And not only that, to Republican voters, Democrat voters, independent voters. What do you have? What can you do? What are you going to give us? All what you're relying on is the fear of Trump. Eventually, people are going to realize, like anything else, that Trump is just a person. He can't hurt you. Show me in the room where Donald Trump is at. Show me on the dial where Donald Trump hurt you. Show me what can Trump do to already impact our lives? What? He's gonna upset the system somehow even more? Folks, be brave this year. Be a free thinker. And vote how you feel like. Okay? That's what we here at Hard Lens Media are going to encourage you. Vote however which way you feel. It's your choice. It's always been your choice. Don't let anyone bully you just so they can control your vote. That's abuse. That's arrogance. So stand tall and true. And yes, I know, we will be covering the DNC convention here in Chicago. We'll see how that turns out. Maybe it'll be fine, or either that, it will be like that good old 1968 showdown. We shall see what happens. Stay tuned to Hard Lens Media.